Well, he was a dear little boy, but he got up to a bit of mischief. We put it down to being the third child, of course, but he was a dear little boy.
Rob was my little brother, and like all little brothers, he was quite annoying at times, and he was pretty active and would run around and do things completely differently to what I would do.
A bit naughty, a bit cheeky, but he sort of did his own thing, I think, because Sal and I were older and we were girls, but we were all good friends growing up.
I met him when I was year 8, when I think it was on his first day at school. Both my sister and his sister had told us that we had to meet each other because, you know, we were going to be friends.
So Rob's football career wasn't really a highlight for our family, I guess, when he was young. He played a bit, I think, for Norwood. He got into some Norwood development squads and things like that. But then when he got into year 11 and 12 at Saints, he grew. And I think that was the time when his football really developed. In year 12, when he played in the Intercol, he won the OP medal, which is the best player in the Intercol. So it was really when he started playing for the Saints Odd Scholars, I think, that he excelled.
When he left school, he was chosen to go to Launceston in the state team. Twice he did that. And I think there were people, SANFL people, had their eye on him because he was a big man, I think, a big ruckman.
A really wintry day, like today, you know, wet, cold, a bit grey. The ground was a bit soggy, as it often was, the caterer. It might have been the second quarter or third quarter, I can't remember, but I remember being quite close to where the accident happened. From memory, it was in about centre-half forward for us.
Look, we were both youngsters playing in the A grade and, you know, pretty good friends, obviously, and we were. He was actually jumping up trying to tap it to me. He just got tangled up with the other ruckman, like big ruckmen often do. They get a little bit uncoordinated at times, and he tangled arms, came down, landed on his neck. No one thought anything of it until afterwards. He was, just lying there, and he felt that he just said, "It feels like my arms and legs are still in the air." And he just had this look of shock on his face.
Yes, I was sitting up in the stand watching the match, talking to the mothers. As soon as he fell and didn't get up, being a nurse, I thought, that's pretty serious, when he didn't ever get up. Rob looked up at his father and said, "Dad, this is pretty serious." He said he felt as though his body left his body somewhere. He just didn't feel right.
I was at home with my sister, just getting ready to go out, and a phone call.
It was Helen, and Helen said she'd been trying to get us because the only way she could was through the home phone, to say that they were in the hospital and Rob had had an accident. We went straight away. I remember driving in there thinking, what's going on? And when we got to casualty at the Royal Adelaide Hospital, we said, we're Sally and Di Johnston looking for our brother Rob. And they looked at us immediately and said, "Come this way." And that's when I sort of knew that something really bad had happened. We went into a room and the medical staff explained to us what had happened and what the consequences were. And at that stage it was that Rob had an accident playing football and he'd broken his neck, and he was having an operation to try to connect it again or do something with it. I wasn't quite sure. That they would know a lot more once they'd operated on him. We all sort of looked at each other and thought, gee, for such an active guy, what's he going to be like? What's he going to think about this? And my memories are that as soon as we went in there, he understood what was going to happen, what had happened to him. And he said to me, "Look, I know what's happened. I'm not going to be able to move again, but I just hope you'll realise that I'm the same guy inside." In hospital, he had to stay flat on his back while his spine repaired itself.
I think we might have gone in that day, the next day, and saw him or whatever, and then it was all pretty clear that it's a pretty dire situation.
I went in one night when I heard he was having a tracheotomy. I thought, I've got to get in there and be with him. And so I slept in the little sitting room there. And in the morning, when they'd finished the tracheotomy, that was, opening up his windpipe, I walked in and he said, "I knew you were here, Mum." I can remember the friends coming in as soon as when he was in hospital. We all knew it was pretty serious. They came in with long faces, they really did.
The friends would often go in to cheer up Rob, but Rob would be the one cheering them up, because he would be saying to them, if they got upset, he'd be saying it's all going to be fine and it's all good.
I mean, it felt like probably going to visit him every sort of day or couple of days. So it was just, just going in there for that whole period. All we wanted to do was go in there and be with him and show your support and your care and your love. And it was just, my overriding memory is just, just how amazingly well he conducted himself and how he didn't seem to be in terror or fear or whatever. He was just himself.
And I guess at that time we were all working towards Rob's future being very different to what we thought it was going to be. And we thought that his future was probably as a quadriplegic, and that he would need a lot of support, and we would need to change our lives to be able to support him. And there was a very positive vibe about that, and we were all happy to do that.
I was part of a group, I think it was called the Robert Johnston Appeal Committee, I'm not quite sure now. There were a lot of functions organised. The capacity of the school community to get behind the Johnston family and to envisage what we thought Rob was going to require over time was just terrific. I think the reality is that over time, over a very short period of time, something like $80,000 was raised for the Robert Johnston Appeal, and at that stage we were hopeful that would help houses be amended or renovated or adjusted to cope with Rob's disabilities.
But as time went on, things just broke down. And I think I knew that I wasn't going to make it. Rob Fraser took us into the botanical gardens next door to the hospital and told us, you were there, Donnie was there and Sal was there, that he had to turn everything off. They had to just let him go.
Yeah, I remember getting a call from his sister Sally saying that Rob didn't have much time to live. They were going to turn the machines off. Look, by the time I got there, he was still alive, and I was able to say a few last words that I was pretty keen to say before he died, but I doubt very much he heard them.
So I remember going to try to find them and walking into the area where he was and seeing him there lying down, I think after he died, and the family were all around, obviously upset.
I guess the final moment when he sort of passed away, we went across to the pub across the road and had a few drinks and sort of celebrated in our own way what was an incredible life.
I mean, I think about Rob a lot, and probably every footy match. When things get a bit difficult, I do sort of think, gee, nothing's quite as bad as what he went through.